Hello. Well, welcome back to another episode of Eric Michael After Dark, where we dish. This is where we unwind after the day, and we just us gals. We just talk and chat, just us gals. Um, I feel like I have a lot to dish about. I don't always have a lot of dish about, but I feel like tonight I have a lot to dish about. So if you want to join me, as per tradition, pour yourself a little Cabernet Sauvignon Blanc from your kettle into your chalice. That's how we'll start it off. Um, Grab yourself some licorice, you know, and we'll just have ourselves a little dish sesh. We'll get in on some dish action. Uh, if you tuned in for today's chapter, I believe it was chapter 30, Blooming Rosebud. What a beautiful chapter that was. But I think one of the things that made it so remarkable was what transpired the night before and what followed the morning after. When I communed with the stars. What did I say? Uh, bes- Bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad. Bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad. I communed, and I conjured a spell. But it was not the intended effect. You know, the intended effect was to have the strength to not be sad. You know, once this little pilgrimage wraps up. But what I got instead was strong winds. I don't need to really go into that because you've seen that chapter. But what I thought was I'd made peace with the wind and all was well on the Western Front. All was not well on the Western Front. I thought that was the only hurdle for the day. I was wrong. I was gravely mistaken. Um, got back to camp, planned on uh, heading to the Willows for the next recording as per the request of the wind. The wind was summoning me to the Willows. It wanted me to follow the wind, and it wanted me to have the wind in my sails towards the south where the willows are. And I got back to camp, and I was getting ready, and this car arrived. And I've been out here. I've been out here for some time, alone, undisturbed, long enough to become feral. I've been out here long enough to become feral, you know, and so you do not like being disturbed, you know. I do understand it. This is a beautiful place. All are welcome. Just don't fucking trash it. But anyway, so this person comes. We're talking like thousands of square miles out here. I don't know. I don't know. Rough estimate. Maybe more. Maybe maybe less. I don't know. Regardless, motherfucker parked right next to me. Shout out to tonight's opposite sponsor, reverse sponsor, fuck you sponsor. Uh, Campers who will go out into the wilderness to non-designated campsites, which are not plug and play campsites, where there is literally so much desert to go to, and they park right next to you. Shout out to today's opposite sponsor, campers who go out into the wilderness and then they see the vastness of the wilderness, and they say, oh my gosh, it's so vast, it's so beautiful. I'm sure the people who come out here are looking for peace and tranquility, isolation, isolation. Wow, look at the beauty, look at the vastness. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to fucking park right next to that guy. Right next to that guy who's obviously made a home here. He's obviously boondocking. He's boondocking in the boonies. You know what I think that guy who obviously wants to be alone, I should park right next to him. That's today's opposite sponsor. They're the equivalent of the couple in the movie theater. First of all, when I go to the movie theater, I will go weeks after release because I would like to be alone while I have my four popcorn containers with the butter and salt and my extra large Coke Zero for calories. I like to be alone. That's, hence why I'm out here. Anyway, those campers, they're the equivalent of the couple that comes into the empty theater. And they say, wow, look at the vastness. Wow, look at the beauty. Look at the peace and tranquility of this vast empty theater. It's so remarkable. And there's that guy up there with 4 containers of popcorn, four share containers of popcorn that he's not sharing. He's all alone, and he has an extra large Coke Zero. Wow, look at the peace. Look at his peace and tranquility, his isolation. I can see that he's so peaceful in tranquility. His legs are up. His legs are up on the chair. His legs are up on the chair because there's nobody else in the theater. He looks so peaceful and tranquil. Hey babe, you know where we should sit? We should sit right in fucking front of him, on the seat that he has his feet on. The campers that go out into the wilderness and they park right next to me, that's the same people in the theater. Zero situational awareness, zero social awareness, zero fucking anything. They don't have a fucking brain cell to account for. Not a single brain cell to account for up here. It's just empty. It's just, there's nothing in there, So that's when that's when I fucking take my Coke Zero, mid movie, when she's like, babe, who is this main character? Babe, what's happening here? I don't know what's happening here. I know that I've been watching the same movie that you are, but I just don't know what's happening here. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm fucking done. Here is my four containers of popcorn on your lap. Here is my extra large Coke Zero down your fucking blouse. I'm done. I'm leaving. My peace and tranquility has been ruined. So yeah, that's what I experienced today. And when they came, I was ready to leave. I was ready to leave, but I couldn't, because when you spend so much time alone in the peace and tranquility of the wilderness, you become feral. I have literally become feral. I have become animalistic and territorial. I have pooped right where they set up. 27 days worth. 27 days of poop cemetery That was the only saving grace of the situation, is because I knew that they were setting up on 27 days worth of poop holes where I buried them on poop. And I said, curse you, curse you. Relish in it. Anyway, so many thoughts went through my head, because I could no longer, I was in mental disarray. I was literally in mental disarray, because I said, I'm on the final 3 chapters. I am on a spiritual pilgrimage. I'm on a mission. I'm a spiritual mission. I'm a missionary. I'm a pilgrim. I am walking the road to Santiago. I am literally traversing the road to Santiago right now. A pilgrim on a pilgrimage. And now I have to worry about your little deal. I've become feral. And you're in my territory. How am I going to cast spells? How am I going to commune with the spirits? I'm nursing the malevolent spirit babies, water babies of the lake mother. I have been nursing them. They go and they sleep in the lake at the depths, and then for breakfast they come up and they eat licorice and pickles with me. I'm literally nursing them, the water babies. How am I supposed to nurse them when you were in my territory? They're gonna be too afraid to come up on the shore. They're gonna see your weird Hyundai, and they're gonna return to the depths of the lake mother. I'm not going to be able to record correctly with you in my vision, talking about stuff and things. I just can't do it. So anyway, it had me in a total, mental shambles. And I thought about, I have 5 sticks of dynamite. Should I just light one off and throw it, and see what happens? Maybe they will get scared. But I didn't want to waste the dynamite, because the dynamite is for the chupacabras. I can't. What happens if a herd of chupacabra attack me, and I don't have them all because I wasted them to shoo off tourists? And I know some people are like, oh, that's not okay that he's herding chupacabra with dynamite. I'm contacting PETA. First of all, chupacabra is an invasive species. They literally just fuck like animals and then destroy the habitat for the other animals. They're an invasive species. Chupacabra. It's promoted to hunt them because it's better for the environment. But don't get your knickers in a knot. I did not use any dynamite. I haven't even gone any chupacabra hunts. And then I thought, what if I casted a spell? What if I said, like, bestow upon thee thy strength, so I shan't be sad? What if I casted that spell? Because the first time I casted that spell, the opposite, something else happened I did not want. I wanted something and I didn't get it. I got what I needed. And I feared, in the back of my mind, that if I cast this spell, I will not get what I want. I want these people to leave. I want them to skedaddle out of here. Or at the very least, go 15, 20, 100 yards away from me. Not right next to my vehicle. So I knew that if I casted that spell, I would get what I needed instead. And what I needed was likely more compassion, more compassion. I needed to show them compassion, which I did not want. I did not want to show them. I wanted them to leave. So reverse psychology. I reverse psychologied the spell. I did not cast the spell because I did not want to receive what I'd need, which was to show compassion. Shout out to today's sponsor, Expect the Unexpected. I did not expect more trials and tribulations to come after the whole wind fiasco. But lo and behold, I got more trials and tribulations. Supposed to show these people compassion. I did not expect the unexpected. Anyway, they eventually left. Hours later. Hours. We're talking 8 hours later. But then, guess what happened? Another car showed up at sunset. You'll never guess where they parked. I'll give you a wild guess. Let me explain what happened. They pulled in and they said, "Wow, look at the vastness. Wow, look at the beauty of the vast lake at sunset." I really think that us two dudes should get out of the car and appreciate the vastness of sunset. I know that we can do it anywhere. There's so many endless places that we could go to appreciate this vastness. But wait, look at that guy. He's so peaceful and tranquil. He's obviously experiencing peace and tranquility. That guy over there is sitting with isolated. You know where we should park, buddy? We should park right next to him. That is literally what happened. The people that did it the first time, they left. As soon as they left, and I finally caught my breath, I finally said, Jesus Christ, I can let go of all of this frustration, count my blessings. As soon as they left and I was able to do that, the sun was setting. It was so picturesque. It was so beautiful. It was so peaceful and tranquil. Another car came in and did the same thing to me. By this point, I knew that I was being tested. My compassion was being tested. And so I suppose I had a lot of different options. You know, I suppose I could have said, "Hey, fellas, how are you?" But I didn't. I was too frustrated. I suppose I could have said, I can see that you're new here, you know, because they were swatting at the gnats. They were swatting at the swarms of millions of gnats. And you can't do that. At night, you can't do that. Because they will just multiply. So I didn't do that either, you know? The sun began its slow, picturesque descent. And I was trying so very hard in my camp chair to enjoy it. In silence, in peace and silence, in peace and tranquility, in isolation. And not only did they park right next to me, they did not walk somewhere. They did not go sit on top of a rock. They did not enjoy the sunset in some remote location. No, they stood next to their car. They stood next to their car and they talked about TikTok. TikTok. Did you see that new TikTok? I love that new TikTok. I'm sorry, but I had no compassion. I could not do it. I thought that I was going to blow my own brains out. I thought that I was going to take one of my sticks of dynamite and shove it into my cochlea, into my fucking ear, as far as I could, and I was going to light it, and I was going to blow my brains out. That's what I thought I was going to do instead of show compassion. And then I decided to do something else. I got into my car. because I was so worried that I was going to scream at the top of my lungs at these guys talking about TikTok. So I got into my car and I turned on my car, and then I turned on my volume as loud as I could. As loud as I could. I turned the knob all the way to 11, and I blasted Rooster by Alice in Chains as loud as I could, all the way to 11. And I rolled all of my windows down so that not only would I drown out their talking, but that it would drown out their talking for them, so that they could not hear themselves talk, so that they could not hear themselves think. I could have shown compassion, but I couldn't. I could not. Too many trials and tribulations for compassion. I said, no, not today. Not today. And what happened? The song ended. And it seemed to have left them unfazed. It seemed to have left them unfazed. And I could have given up. I could have said, you know what? It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. But I'm not a quitter. So you know what I did? I hit back. I hit back. Skip back. Do it again. And I played the song again. This time, I turned it up even louder. Everything on the treble, bass, everything. A full blast. And once more, it seemed to have left them unfazed. And I said, is compassion supposed to win? Is compassion supposed to win right now? Should I turn off the volume and join in on their conversation about TikTok? Should I say, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, but I kind of need to get into it because of this stuff that I'm doing? I need to put this on TikTok. Should I get on this conversation? Can you talk to me about TikTok? I could have done that. But I said, no, I'm not giving up. And I hit back. I hit repeat. And I played Rooster again. I played Rooster to the point where I thought that I was going deaf. I literally did not think I was going to be able to finish these recordings because I would not be able to hear. I was going to have to go to the hospital. I was going to have to tell them, listen, I played Rooster 3 times as loud as I possibly could, and now I'm deaf. I was going to have to write that on a notepad to the doctor. I was going to have to hand him a notepad saying, I think I'm deaf. Can you help me? That's almost what it got to. But third time is a charm. And you know what they did? They got in their car. They stopped talking about TikTok. They got in their car. They said, oh my gosh, this guy is not peaceful. He's not tranquil. He's quite literally a heathen. He's a heathen. He got into his car in this peaceful, tranquil desert, in the vastness of this desert, where we're trying to enjoy the sunset right next to him, where we drove all the way from Reno, Nevada to this desert so that we could enjoy the vastness and the peaceful and the tranquility, and we parked right next to him, and I cannot believe we parked next to a heathen. That is very likely what they said. But you know what? I won. I may have lost all the battles today, except for with the wind, but I won the war. Because I sent them packing. Because I'm feral. I've become feral. So anyway, that's what I feel like that's what I had to dish about. Seem to have misplaced my lighter. Perhaps there is an application whereof which we can dish all together. My tent is fucking up my camera. Perhaps there's a situation where we can do this, where there's many people dishing about things. I feel like these dish sessions after hours with Eric Michael, dish and wine, it's very one-sided. You know? Perhaps I'd like to hear what you have to dish about. Is there an app for that? Do we need to make a dish app? A dish app for us gals? I don't know any programmers, but I feel like as if there must be some kind of dish app. Something like AOL Instant Messenger. But for videos. I don't know. I'm open to suggestion. But the hour's growing late. I have a couple strands of licorice left that I would like to enjoy in isolation, in the little peace and tranquility that I have remaining in this evening. I always save the last couple strands for enjoying the silence and solitude, you know? As much as I would like to continue dishing, I only have 2 strands of licorice left, and I would like to enjoy them in isolation, in peace and tranquility. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight on Eric Michael After Hours. Dish with us gals. I'll see you next time. Good night.